Today I want to look into a couple of things regarding Karen Reed, lovely Karen Reed, the podcast with Stephanie Sue. That was terrific. There's one question out of there that I want to know. And then about this movie on Hulu. Okay. We've got the Crime and Shadow. We've got the Hidden Deck, the Mythic Tarot, and the Kipper. I don't know about you guys, but I've missed you in these Karen Reed readings. All right. My first question is this, my darlings. Why was Brian Higgins not in... Why was Brian Higgins not in this movie? He was waiting in the shadows. Okay, let me get a couple of more cards and I'm going to answer that a lot better. Okay. I just heard a voice. Let me see. Because it was a decision that was made to keep him in the background. Why? Because I just heard because it would open up another door. So Hulu did not want to open another door as far as Higgy is concerned. Wow. Because they knew he was this emotional person, couldn't let it go, and would have opened up a can of worms. Gaslighting at its finest. What does this deck say? Oh. And some cards are turned over. All right, so we're going to take this and this and this. Two honored dudes. Decorated dudes. Wow. Some of these cards are turned over. Let me fix this because, wow, lots of energy. Wants to tell us all about what's going on. Okay. I usually catch that, but this time I didn't. Zelda. I was just going to ask what Brian Higgins' involvement was in this crime against John O'Keefe. Now, entertainment purposes only, not a lawyer, not a doctor. The cards don't lie. They're pretty self-explanatory, but let's go through them. He was hiding. You see? Hiding in the waiting for the door to open, hiding in the wings. Oh, wow. There's evidence against him. I just want you to know there's evidence against him. In my opinion, he needs to be concerned. Extremely concerned, because there was evidence that has been found about him. I want to go back over here. He thought Karen, now Karen obviously is the main female, he thought she was a privileged lady, and she is, as far as I'm concerned. And I don't mark that by her material wealth. I mark that by her ability. Wow. And of course, there's the house and two decorated dudes. That is Higgy and, in my opinion, Brian Albert. Wow. Let me adjust my camera and I'll be right back. There's just something about Brian Higgins I'm not able to let go. And here's a little hint. Are you ready? John isn't ready to let go either. This card comes out. Let's see what it is. Yeah. You see, that is, when I made this card, I made it to look like a judge's chamber. This judge's chamber is telling that this is not an open and shut case, and right now it's open, and it will be reopened. Let me ask something. Will a criminal case be reopened in 2026? Will there be a criminal case talked about being reopened in 2026? Will there be justice? All right, so I've got it here. Okay. Let me put these cards out, and I'm going to tell you what that is. (2026) and going into 2027, there will be a criminal case be open once again. This will be very fulfilling for a lot of people, and definitely not fulfilling for some. You're going to see some try to move on from this. As this year progresses and coming into the summer, you're going to see some changes as far as the McHouse defendants, because first of all, number one, money will be an issue. Number two, they realize that as they get into this, it's a completely different animal from this civil case into the criminal case. Once they get into this civil case, they're going to realize when they're compelled to tell a story and tell the truth that the defense from Karen's side can ask anything that they want. Now, obviously, this is technically started from the O'Keefes, and then Karen is bringing suit against these other people. Now, I'm not a lawyer, okay, so forgive me on all that, on all the details, but what I can tell you is there's something coming. You can bet on it. There is something coming. But Higgins was left out of that movie on purpose, on the production, because it would have opened up another can of worms. The courtship. This courtship means being engaged. Now, it doesn't mean being engaged merrily. It means being engaged in something. Karen said she did not think that Jen had voodoo dolls. Look at what came out. Look, this card, and for most of you who want to know, this card comes out a lot, and I'll tell you why. Because it's those fractured moments, the innocent moment, that ordinary moment where you're just sitting, because 0.7 of a second can change someone's life. And these are the moments right here before someone makes a decision to do something they probably should not do. I'm not going to deflate Karen at all, because Karen is a believer and she's God-fearing. But I'm going to also say she's got a lot of class, and I don't feel that she's going to bring that up. But do I believe that Jen, you know how I've always thought. If you've watched me over the last 2 years, in my opinion, Jen has gone dark. And that's desperation. But she needs to realize they didn't work. Better send them back to Timu, Jen, because your little dolls didn't have any impact on this whatsoever. In fact, what you can, if in fact you do have these, which I really do feel so, but if in fact you do have these dolls, just know that whatever energy that you put into them that was negative, that was supposed to be spread out to whomever, Karen, anybody else, Turtle Boy, anybody, will come back to you tenfold. Be prepared. Be prepared. And for those of you who are listening, you'll see it. 5 of Wands. There's going to be some infighting starting to happen. Will we see it? Maybe not. But the infighting will be between the two camps. Not Karen's camp, but the O'Keefe camp, and then especially within the McHouse, McDefendant camp. This is a fire element, fire energy. It will open doors. It will definitely create more opportunity. And believe me, my darlings, by the end of this year, but we're just now gearing up. We're just now gearing up on a lot of these things. Because as the time comes closer, I'm going to say distant horizons. This will, as the time comes closer, you're going to see that some settlements are going to be offered. Not from Karen. And I mean settlement, maybe not even financially, but they don't want to go through this. They want dismissals. They want settle. They want this. They want that. They don't have a right to even ask for it, in my opinion. Legally, maybe. But this could take a little longer than what anybody would want. I'm going to say, if you can support Karen, this is those final moments where you know a decision is about to be made for you on your behalf. And you can either turn around and go back toward the light, or you will get up and you will go toward the unknown. That's not for Karen. There's a lot of things. That, my darlings, is a partnership. Now, Karen still has a lot of things up her sleeve. Let me say that. She's not going to say everything, but she told a lot in that Stephanie Sue Rotten Mango podcast, which I really like that her Stephanie Sue. She's very nice. And smart. Ask the right questions. Okay. The 9 of Swords. We're going to start hearing all of them start wagging their tongues again. Now, it was very surreal to even listen to Karen describe what it was like when the verdict came and she had nowhere to go. That elation on one side and the emptiness and the void on the other. Because at this point she couldn't even call John. This is that 9 of Swords. This is that 3 a.m. morning where you're sitting up and you're wondering, if I would have done this, if I would have done that. And frankly, I think that she wonders if she would have just stayed home and waited for the plumber to come. Would this have happened to John? Now, she can't blame herself for that. What she was trying to do is just get together with him and just smooth things over. That's all. That's all Karen was. We've all done that. No judgment here. Anybody. We've all done that. A thief. There were many that took from Karen. There were many. And now they have things in place where that's not going to happen again. There's a new pathway. There's a new pathway coming, and I think some people are going to change directions. Don't forget, like and subscribe, my darlings. Thanks for being here. I love you. We're going to do this some more. Keep watching. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.